Because to me, knowledge is useful or non-useful depending on context. And that to mobilize knowledge outside of really understanding what are the particular decisions, what are the particular pain points or experiences that people are trying to answer questions to out in the world, that what I know might be able to help inform. That when it's in context, that makes a whole lot of sense. But I think a lot of the thrust of, across many universities, a lot of the thrust of knowledge mobilization is, I found something, let me make sure to put it out into the world. And it may or may not be appropriate to the time and sort of the major thrusts of conversation or the things that people need in the world at that moment. And so I think recognizing these time horizons of what is really relevant in particular communities with particular problems or decisions that they need to be able to resolve. And can I think about my research as being in conversation with what's really emerging, as opposed to I've discovered something and now I need to put up a website and make sure that people know about it. We're at this place where there's so much information out there. There's so much demand for people's eyeballs that a lot of people will put in quite a bit of effort to try to get their research out there, and they're not getting much response. And that really has to do with the match between, is this something that it's the moment to capture people's attention with this work, if that is matching what people are putting out there. And so I always like to caution around knowledge mobilization that it can be really hard for researchers who feel like a lot of pressure to make sure that they're putting their work out there, that putting it out there when there's not a clear audience and there's not a clear reason and there's not a way in which to use it at the moment, that still may be valuable. It might be that it sits there and gets picked up later. One of the researchers in Faculty of Social Sciences did a big study that sat for a couple of years. Nobody paid any attention to it. And then something happened and suddenly it exploded and everyone was paying a lot of attention to it. I think what happens more often is that people who are pretty sort of savvy about applying their research to particular discussions out in the world may have research that's several years old, but they're recognizing, okay, this thing is coming out. And so they're going to re-roll out their discoveries and begin to sort of put that out there or update their research, knowing that this is becoming an issue. And so that match, I think, is one of the elements that's really critical in thinking about how you incorporate the information and the discoveries that are coming out of research into informed processes for decision making.